real estate, it is risky. There are risks associated with it, but as long as you have reserves post-purchase, that's what allows you the peace of mind to be able to maintain that long-term perspective on things.
This is Short-Term Rental Management, the show that is all about short-term rental property management, with your host, yours truly, Luke Carl. Short-term rental management, Luke Carl, happy to be here, and I have Jeff and Jenny here with me today, who are short-term rental investors. They own a house and they worked with the short-term shop, and I've been working with them a little bit one-on-one, and it's been a great experience. And they have a pretty cool story, and I wanted to bring them in, basically from the the aspect that they are a little bit newer, and they did go through some issues and trouble kind of in the early days of purchasing the home. And I thought this would be valuable for other people to hear, like, hey, there are things that can go wrong. And I think they handled it well. And I wanted to get into that. But let me introduce the two of you, Jeff and Jenny. How are you?
Good.
Great. Thanks for having us on.
It's my pleasure. A little bit about you guys. Where do you live, etc.?
We live in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm a business owner. I run automotive repair shops. So I'm not new to remote management because my repair shops are actually in California. So the whole idea of running an Airbnb remotely wasn't exactly scary to me. And I'm also a business coach to other shop owners around the country. Which, when it came time to, start investing in real estate, and we were definitely like the idea of short-term rentals, short-term shop seemed like a good idea to me. I'm not new to coaching. I definitely see the advantages of it and the value in it. So it was an easy call to make, and yeah, it's been a journey.
Wonderful. Yeah. So you are in Short-Term Shop Plus, which is our, it's our all-in-one program with coaching, et cetera. But I want to hear more about your automotive coaching side of things. That you're a coach at a community of other coaches, or how does that work, and what is it called?
It's called Shop Fix Academy.
Okay.
And yeah, it was started by Aaron Stokes. He's based out of Nashville, Tennessee. And he kind of came into it kicking and screaming. There was one particular shop owner that really just wanted his advice and wanted to be coached by him. And he reluctantly agreed to it, and then started bringing on other business owners as coaches. And so now it's grown into, I think there's altogether about 50 coaches thereabouts, probably close to 1,000 shop owners around the country. So I coach about 20 other shop owners. They're spread out throughout the country. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I like sharing in the success of my clients, and that first time they get to that next level of business, it's super exciting. As a business owner that's growing businesses of your own, you only have that first time you get to that next level. It only happens once. And so, as coaching someone else, up through those levels, you get to relive it, through them. And it's a lot of fun.
I have never heard it put that way. Wow. That it's so true. And good for you. So you I guess started out as a mechanic and just basically took it to the next level, opened your own shops, and then and it all kind of just grew.
Yeah, I'm actually the son of a shop owner, so I don't have a technician background. Like, really, I would say 80-90% of most shop owners do come from the technician background. I was the boss's kid, and he had grown it to a pretty good single shop. And after joining Shop Fix Academy, I was able to take it from a really good foundation and really make it grow. We've got two shops now. And my goal is to run 4 remotely, and maybe start another empire out here in Tennessee.
How did you end up in Tennessee? Just because it's the land of the free and no income tax, or?
Sure.
Yeah.
Gavin Newsom sent us here. We got kicked out of California. We didn't agree with the group think
I
and
see.
save our girls from the school system. So
Okay. Yeah, I can understand that. California is it's a weird, it's a thing. It's a
it's a
thing.
beautiful place. It's just
Gorgeous.
not yeah.
Yeah,
Tennessee is more where we want to be holistically. So
I see. Yes, and it is the land of the free. I mean, Tennessee is it's America, really. I mean, you got no state income tax. There's it's very it's a wonderful place. I've lived in New York City for a very long time, not completely undifferent than California with worse weather.
yeah.
And then I moved to Tennessee from there, and you realize, wow, this is a whole different thing. It is, so. And I like them both. I do. I am actually desperately trying to get the family back up to New York this summer.
Mhm.
And of course, Tennessee is a little easier to get to, but at least for us living down here in the Southeast. All right. And Jenny, what's your end of the deal there? What do we got? What do you have going on?
I've been a stay-at-home mom, and I'm like the professional assistant. He's the dreamer. I'm the doer. I'm obsessed with details. I'm obsessed with projects and organization and implementation. I'm a really good multitasker, really good manager. So I'm the organizational manager for the shops in California.
Oh,
I do all of the recruiting. I help audit all of the work orders, making sure everything's on the up and up, making sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. I'm just a very extreme rule follower. So Jeff comes up with the ideas and I figure out the websites and the forms and make it happen.
so we have a visionary and we have an integrator,
Yeah,
Mhm.
which is what every relationship needs, whether it's business or otherwise. It's
Yep.
you get in trouble when you have two visionaries or two integrators,
correct.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
or you can just neither one of you could be either one, and everybody would be fine as well. But
I just have another mouth to feed, another paycheck to pay.
right. And how old are the children?
Um, Chloe's 19 and Samantha's turning 18 in September. So
Very close together, and two
18 months.
girls.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. My daughter is she's just everything to me. I love her to death. And my son, he's cool too. But I grew up with all boys, so that's a different vibe.
Mhm.
Never ever did I have a female in the mix other than my mother. So that little girl is just something else. She'll just eat you alive, and it's wonderful.
It's pretty special.
Yes, very special. Strong Father, Strong Daughter. Fantastic book. I bet you've read it.
No.
No. Okay. Well, Jeff, read that book. You'll love it. It's never too late.
Yeah.
Never too late. Strong Father, Strong Daughter. It was great. There's several books on the subject, but that was my favorite. Okay, cool. So you guys decided was this rental that you have now? I believe you just have the one overnight rental. Was that your first venture into real estate, or do we own other real estate?
Um, I do own the one of the buildings that we operate one of the shop locations out of. So that was purchased in 22. And so
The shop
this would be
I'm sorry, the shop was in that building prior.
Yeah.
correct. And so I bought the real estate, so I rent it from myself. That's a
How,
self-rent.
for tax reasons, I would assume. Yeah.
Yep.
How did that come about, though? You were renting from this. I mean, it sounds like you have owned this thing for 2 generations now, and then
Right.
eventually the building owner just said, "What do you think?"
Right. So the original building owner sold it to my dad back in I want to say the late 80s, early 90s. Um, and so he owned it. He owned both the business and the shop. I took over the shop in the mid-teens, and then in 22, I had the cash to put down on a purchase of the building. We did an owner carry on that, so we didn't have to involve the banks. We just had our lawyer draft up the purchase agreement, and so now I no longer pay rent to him. for the building. I just pay him a mortgage. So now I'm building equity in the business, and then paying myself rent. And so it's a nice tax advantage way to build wealth within the building.
And
Is
then
that, I'm sorry, Jenny?
yeah, the cabin is our first short-term rental,
Sure,
though.
first rental real estate of any kind other than the
Yeah.
shop. Okay.
Yeah.
Do we own the personal home, primary home, or we rent the primary home?
Yeah, that technically that is also being rented. We rent that. We had the cash to purchase a home, and we ended up working out a deal with my dad. He had other rental properties, and he wanted to dump them. He didn't want to do that side of it anymore, and decided. Rather than pay a huge capital gain, he could
Yeah.
1031 exchange it into another property. And I said, look, I'll be your renter. So we've basically just treated it as our own home, and paying rent on it.
He's a great
So
landlord.
Yeah. Okay. Is dad out of the equation at this point? In other words, is he, I guess, what, lack of a better word, retired?
yeah, no, he is definitely retired.
Sounds like
Yes.
a really good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
he
we
is.
yeah we pay him every month what he probably would have just received from his retirement account. So it's a nice way of helping him support him without it being um, icky.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's also, he's helping you. I mean,
it's mutually beneficial. It's a
Right.
nice financial vehicle for him. We have a great home to live out of. I have a great business and
Mhm.
great property that it's being operated out of.
Mhm.
So he's generating income. I'm paying him a lot of money each month with these payments, but I would have paid that to
To anybody else.
any other
right.
person that I would buy the property from. So
I'm at an age where I have friends and et cetera that the parents are getting older, and it's my parents are luckily in good health, but definitely older. And you look around and you have these conversations with your friends, and you say, if the old man would have just bought a damn duplex,
hmm.
we wouldn't be so stressed out about all these medical bills and things, because he would have some equity and maybe a couple of rent dollars coming in, but they don't do that. And so good for your dad. That's a wonderful thing. Great deal. Great deal all around. So you decided to get into some more rental real estate, and you actually moved to Tennessee. And of course, so that's not far fetched at all. Living in East Tennessee to get into what is really the biggest overnight rental market in the world for single family homes, anyway. And seems like a pretty natural evolution. So you started shopping around and ended up with this particular cabin. Can you talk more about that? How did you decide which one you wanted and all that kind of stuff?
Well, when it comes time to rent a cabin or a vacation that we're having, I would always, gravitate towards it's got to have a view, got to have a view. And so when shopping for one for ourselves that we would use, that's my number one criteria. And if it has that feature, it's something that can never be taken away. It's just it doesn't deteriorate. It doesn't depreciate. It is what it is, and it is a beautiful view that we have. So that was my number one criteria is a really good view. And I wanted a 4 bedroom that we could host our family. We have a moderate sized family. It's not huge, but
Enough to fill a 4-bedroom house.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, well, first of all, hold on. I want to stop you there. I'm loving everything I'm hearing so far because you get a lot of these folks that get into this because they're looking for some sort of hit the lottery or something, and you guys were being really wanted it personal use. That to me is a huge deal. Why not? And the back to the view thing. My thing there is, and again, I've been in the Smokies a very long time, really longer than just about anybody since the Airbnb era, and that question is like It's constant. Should I get a view? Should I not get a view? Because the view is in most cases, more expensive to purchase and hopefully for rents as well. But my thing there is, and you tell me, if you need a view, buy a view, and if you don't care about a view, don't get a view, because you can probably have success renting either way. The purchase price is going to be lower, and if you don't care about a view, then your guests won't care about a view. I think it's almost like you're creating the vibe that you want for yourself, and you're selling that to other people. Is that fair?
Yep.
Absolutely.
100%.
Okay. And did the view pay off? Because you do on your property. We won't, I'm not going to give the address out or anything, but the view is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
It's insane. There's another cabin owner that lives. Oh, he doesn't live, but he's across the street from us. But he has introduced himself to me, and he likes to go onto our deck and sit on our porch when we don't have guests, and he sends me pictures from our deck.
Oh, wow.
And
Does he check with you to make sure you don't have guests?
I think he just looks to see if there's cars in the driveway, and just he's the flight attendant. He spends a lot of time in the air. I think that there's some screw loose or something. But
I see. So he's a flight attendant.
sent me pictures of this spectacular double rainbow in the middle of this view, and it was just incredible.
But he doesn't live there. He's
he stays there when he doesn't have guests.
He's an owner. So
an interesting guy, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay. So the view, almost sounds like you've got yourself a little niche there. You can almost market this thing as like the best view in the Smokies, pretty much. This is a view that's good enough that neighbors are coming over to steal the view.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay, that's pretty cool. That's a nice little niche there. I would much rather be marketing that than a damn pickleball court. So
True.
I like that. Okay, so you purchased the home. When was this?
October of 24.
Okay, so last October at the recording of the podcast there, and how did it go? Because obviously there's a little bit of a story. You had some issues in June, and I think it was January. So let's get to that. So you went live in November-ish.
Well, we hosted for Thanksgiving, and then we were live in December.
Okay, so you're going live at the beginning of dead season, with the exception of obviously Christmas can in most cases be pretty lucrative if you time it right. So did you have a good Christmas?
Yes, we were able to get renters pretty much right out of the gate. So every week was full.
Oh, not just Christmas.
Yeah, it was full December. It was full in January.
Oh,
then it didn't start falling off until February, which we needed because turns out that the well was drying up. And being at the top of the mountain, being at the top of the hill is spectacular for the view, but not so spectacular for the water flow. That's kind of where the water originates, not where it flows to. So we were started in January, mid-January, started getting complaints by the cleaning staff that they didn't have water coming through the faucets when they came to do the turns. And
hold on a second. Is this the first time you've ever had any experience with a well?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a lot of learning curve there as well. So you're freaking out. You're like, oh my God, my well's run dry, like you hear on the movies or whatever, and I actually don't know how this story ends, so maybe I can even offer some help. But it does sound like it's been completely resolved at this point. But
So far.
so
the water has it's not doing too well. And was it a situation where if it rained, it would get better, or you never really got to that point?
Well, it was kind of a dry winter, so
yeah.
I don't know. It's drilled like 200 feet.
it's an 800-foot well.
Well, okay.
Well, yeah, 800-foot well. The wherever the water
table
table is at like 750. So
okay, that's pretty deep in the Smokies. That's pretty deep.
That's what I've been told.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cleaning staff would say they would run out of water. Then a half an hour later, they're like, "Oh, it's back on." And then a half hour later, "Oh, it's off again." So
I'm so sorry. Are you sharing the well? Is it yours?
We are supposedly we're not sharing, but hush hush wink wink, the well guys said that pretty much you're sharing with five other people because there's only like one or two water tables at that spot in the mountain. So supposedly it's only ours, but there's no way to tell.
Okay, so this sounds to me like that you do have your own private well, but what he's saying is that all the five wells that are up there are basically sucking out of the same water table, which is true.
Right.
Yes, and the same, another thing that happens when that's going on, if you let's say your house was the first one, then they build the next one next door, and they build the next one, and they build the next one. Yours was the first well. When they drill that next well, your well is going to be nasty for like a week because they're drilling a hole down into that water, and it kicks all this crap up. And usually, what happens with a brand new well is you'll get bubbles, and it's like super white water. It almost looks like milk for the first week or so, but it's just bubbles. Now, in a situation where you have multiple wells right next to each other, it can kick up more stuff like sediment and rocks and little pieces of sand or whatever, that kind of thing. All that kind of stuff. It's good times. But of course, this would have been 25 years ago or something, I would assume. Whenever that home was built, you didn't actually go through that, but I'm just pointing that out. And in other words, if you were to have somebody build one right next to you tomorrow, when they go to drill your well's going to get funky again because you're all at the top of this mountain.
Right.
Okay, so the water starts getting inadequate. What did you do?
We called the well company to see what we needed to do, trying to figure out the next steps. And they drew down the well, which of course, since I've never had experience with that before, I didn't know what that meant. They were there all day sucking all the water out of the well. And because they wanted to see the refresh rate to see how much quicker it would fill back up. Well, once they did that, it never filled back up. They discovered that the refresh rate was about half a gallon a minute. They didn't know that at the time, so they drew it down. They're like, okay, give it a couple days. We'll see how quickly it refreshes. And of course, then we were booked, so we had people coming in. And it had kicked up so much sediment because it was down at the bottom that we had mud coming through all of the faucets.
Right. Yes.
And they're like, it's okay. It'll just take a day or two, maybe even just a couple hours. Just, run the faucets and they'll let it filter through. Well, they kept doing that and they would run out of water. And every time it would refresh, it would be mud. So for weeks, we had mud coming out of the faucets through two different guests.
Did you try multiple well companies?
Tried calling, but only one would respond.
This is East Tennessee. It's not easy to get people on the phone.
Especially when you have an out-of-state zip code, I've been discovering.
Yes, area code, yes. But you live in Knoxville now, so you could drop that. You're local enough. But, okay, so was fracking ever on the table?
It was suggested, but they said that starts at $8,000. They suggested we try water storage, and
is that what you went with?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, fracking, and for those that don't know, and again, I'm no well expert here. I just own a bunch of them, and I've been through a lot of this stuff. They drill it deeper. So if you got a 600-foot well, in other words, when you drill the well to begin with, they drill until they hit water, and then they pretty much quit. And then they drop the well pump in there, and it's really pretty simple. If something changes or you now have 5 wells sucking from the same water table, etc., then sometimes fracking is where I live. They wouldn't even call it fracking. Like down in the super deep south, they would just say, hey, we're going to drill you deeper, but this word fracking has become popular, and it's really the same thing. It's just it's a fun way to say it. Nothing fun about fracking, but it's a sexier word, right? So usually you pay by the foot. Now, when it comes to fracking and you're in a vacation town and it's a small town, there's not a lot of folks working and they're busy. They probably said, for us to even bring, probably what's going on here is they said, for us to even bring our damn drill truck up there, we're not playing around for anything less than $8,000, which is X number of feet. Did they give you a number of feet for the $8,000?
No, they just paid to start.
Starts.
To start looking.
That was basically, I would assume, their way of saying, in order for us to bring our drill truck up there, we're not doing anything under $8,000. And which is, I mean, usually you pay by the foot. You sign. I've drilled fresh wells from scratch, and that hopefully they've done other ones in that area, and they usually have, and they can say, we think we need to go this deep. We'll charge you this much per foot, and this is how deep we're going to have to go. And then they're like, oh, we actually had to go another 100 feet, so it was this much more. Blah blah blah. So you decided not to frack, although I guess just so we can move on from that subject, is that still possible? Should we choose?
It's possible. It's possible, but this was this water storage is like the first solution. And should it draw down to the point where it's not refreshing, fast enough, then that would be the next step.
Okay, we'll get
Yeah,
into the water. I'm sorry, Jenny.
no, that was just, it was meant to be a Band-Aid to get us to the point where we could replenish our money to try fracking. And it was also giving us the short-term solution that if the well wasn't refreshing the storage tanks, we could always get water delivered to the cabin. So at any point, we wouldn't be wholly dependent on the well. We could just even make water delivery part of the normal day to day,
Right.
week to week.
Cool. Yeah. So just weighing your options, and you decided not to frack. Let's go ahead and go with the storage tanks, which again, if you do frack later, then it's nice to have both. It can be nice to have both, right? So talk about the storage tanks. The biggest problem with storage tanks, especially in this area that we're talking about right now, is where the hell do you put them? So I would assume you had somewhere to put them. Crawl space.
Yes, there's a huge crawl space underneath the house where they had the well pump and the hot water heater. So all we needed was to have a contractor come and do a
Make it flat.
platform. And yeah, it's flat-ish, but there's a definite slope you can see with the water storage tanks. But yeah, he did a platform, and then we had another company come and install the storage tanks.
Yeah, I think flat-ish is all you're going to get in East Tennessee, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just it is what it is. Right. I mean, it is what it is. So, okay, how much storage did we go with? How many gallons?
1,000 gallons.
1,000 gallons.
One tank or two 500s or?
Four 250-gallon tanks.
Four 250s. Okay. Has that been working just fine since? Okay. Yep. Then all signs are leading to we should be good to go. We're going to knock on all the wood we can find. Right. We have a system for our storage tanks. In other words, a camera or some sort of an electronic monitor.
Coming.
No monitor of any kind right now.
Other than just we've asked the cleaners to check it both before they start and when they're finished so that we can know the status of the water.
Got it. So those of you that don't know, the storage tank, the idea there is that the well can continue to pump basically all the time rather than when somebody just turns on the shower, the well pump pumps. So the well pump is feeding into these large storage. They're just plastic is really all they are. And it's almost, if they really look like a bit like a horse trough when you were a kid, if you grew up in the country, but they're plastic. Obviously, they'll have a lid to keep the water from getting gross. And the well pump pumps until the storage tank is full, which it'll have a float gauge in there, and that'll tell the pump to stop pumping. And then it can, at that point, the well has time to refill. So long story short, we're basically creating our own man-made version of the well in these storage tanks so that it's a less of a chance that the actual well will run out of water. Is that a fair explanation?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay. So we've got 1,000 gallons. Now, the fact that you haven't needed a camera or a sensor tells me that, again, we're knocking on everything. You're probably pretty good to go. These storage tanks are very common in East Tennessee. I would recommend a camera or a sensor. There's several you can get on Amazon, et cetera, or even just a ring cam in the crawl space.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just, this sucked everything out.
Oh, I hear you. Well, emotionally as well, I would imagine.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So that way, if it starts to get, and here's moving forward, in my experience, what'll happen is you'll learn who did what. In other words, if you have some sort of camera or electronic monitor that goes to your phone and your sensor is saying, hey, your tanks are going down, the cleaner left the hot tub hose on is usually, a pretty common culprit. That can be very common in general. I have a well that's shared with 6 or 7. I'm actually the vice president at HOA, so I get those phone calls, and every single time now between me, the president, and myself, we're next door to each other. We just text each other at this point. We don't even bother emailing the other members. Are you sure your hot tub water got turned off because we ran out of water? And I'm like, crap, I don't know. Nobody's in there. Can you send your guest over? It's always whoever's house is empty that left the hose on, because otherwise there's a pretty good chance that somebody would have noticed, right? So if your house goes empty for a day or two and the well goes empty, in this particular community, they all have their own personality. Then we know that the empty house is probably the one that has the hose on. Somebody needs to get over there, turn that hose off. So then we have the well can replenish itself. It takes, several hours, but it always happens. It works that way at that particular HOA. That HOA has 14 properties, 2 wells. I believe it's 8 and 6 or something like that. We call it the upper well and the lower well. Man, it's always something. So anyway, let me ask you this: there was no indication when you purchased the home that this was going to happen?
No, and when you think about it, you want to have good due diligence and have it inspected, and actually there were a couple of things that were noted on the inspection. Specifically the deck. The deck needed some work, and we were able to negotiate that into the sale. We got some credits to be able to take care of that. And we had cash reserves after the purchase to finance the all the decor that we wanted to get, a couple of additions we wanted to put into the cabin. And still, after all that, we had reserves, so we could check all the boxes. Well, thank goodness for the reserves, because this came up, and it's not something that is checked in an inspection. They don't check flow rate. They check to make sure that your hot water's hot and that you have no leaks in the plumbing, but flow rate is not something that's measured.
Well, also, it sounds to me like at the time of the inspection, there probably was no cause for alarm.
No.
And we have the former owner reached out to us because
I was going to say, because if I'm in this situation, I might dig a little deeper, or at least go maybe find those reviews or something. So anyway, the owner reached out to you?
well, because he had clients that he worked with personally, not outside of Airbnb and VRBO, and he wanted to make sure that we could accommodate those customers. And he was texting us quite often. And then when we told him that we were having water issues, he disappeared.
You're kidding.
He stopped responding. He stopped reaching out. And we're like, okay.
So you said, hey, did you ever have water problems? And he ghosted?
I think he said, I don't think that we had any water issues. I think it was just really vague. But why do you give up on an opportunity like that? Because he had to fix the deck. There was a lot of foundation problems, and he was probably running out of water too. So he's probably just,
Fatigued.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how long did he own this thing? He was probably just over it in general.
Yeah, he wasn't a long time owner.
Oh, he wasn't?
No, I think he had it since like 20 or 21.
Oh.
Years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was being managed by a property manager. So they're probably, I don't know if maybe the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. He probably wasn't using it either. And just, what I think he says he has other short-term rentals in like South Carolina or something like that, but whatever.
He stopped reaching out.
Yeah. We're over it. Moving forward.
Yeah. So it sounds like, I mean, if you knew now what you knew then, would you still do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And you love the
I
home.
wouldn't have spent as much money on decor.
Well, yeah, I got you. But you love the home, and this was, now we're talking 3-4 months ago since the major water issue. Knock on every piece of wood. Once again, no issues since. Great job. We do have the backup plan of fracking if need be. And what's happened since then? We're happy with the bookings
They're slow
right now.
Yeah, they've slowed down significantly.
Since the issue? Because it sounds like January you had no problem, which is weird.
I know it was crazy, but yeah, it's definitely slowed down. I haven't had many new bookings in a couple of weeks, but
But
we're
what does the
pretty.
calendar look like in general? How was your May? We're recording in the middle of May. What's May look like? Well, don't I mean don't bother pulling it up, but
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think it's
Every month
about
is
every
like
other,
filled up
on
halfway.
average, it's about every other week. Well, and they're long-term guests,
Yeah,
usually 4 or 5 days, and about every other week seems to be the pattern. And then
yeah,
they'll come in clusters where we'll have there'll be a lot of same day turns and like 3, 4 guests in a row.
yeah.
So
So,
it's hit and miss.
um, so this month, May, June, July, we only have 1 week available in those months.
oh, well, that's wonderful.
And then we have the first week of August, and then it's open.
Okay, that's I mean honestly, Jenny, you're too booked. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah.
are you a little light in May? Is May's pretty filled in, or
Yeah, we got somebody in there right now. And then we have a week off, and then we have two bookings.
okay?
So
So there's something I want to point out, and this is extremely common, for uh, I hate to say newer folks, but when you first start, you get bookings and it's exciting and fun. And I think that your brain got used to that, and now all of a sudden you're full, so there are no bookings, and now you're like you got excited and used to those emails that said, "Hey, you just got a booking," but now you're not getting those because your calendar's full, and so you're like you're not getting that dopamine hit, and you're
right.
disappointed.
I was getting
So
him like daily.
right, but now there's nothing to book. It's supply and demand, right? So if you're full, give or take, for the next 3 months, I would say we need to go ahead and raise some prices there.
Okay. Yeah, I've been lowering them and changing the
No, no,
minimum
we don't need to be
fee.
booking August right now. Now we're getting into some coaching here, but it's just totally fine. But no reason to lower anything right now, unless you have like an immediate need for like next week or something. Then we need to get rid of that. But sounds to me like your calendar, and again, we're not looking at it right now. This is podcast purposes. We can do that later. But sounds to me like your calendar is probably a little better than it needs to be. And I would even go so far as to say maybe raise a couple of prices. But we'll take a look at that and make sure that you get what you need.
Yeah, perfectionist. So I'd like every day full.
No, yeah, we want every day full. Yeah, absolutely. So anything you have in the near future that's not full, go ahead and get rid of that. But if you're worried about getting August bookings this far in advance, no way. We're good there. September, we'll take a look at September because that's usually a pretty slow month, but definitely not any dire need because it's quite a ways away right now. So okay. All right. Well, what's next? What do we do next? Are you going to continue to do more real estate? Are we focused on the shop in general?
Yeah, right now we're really focused on the shop. As far as like big purchases, investing in the future, I kind of look into expanding on the shop, then expanding the real estate, then expanding the shop, expanding the kind of a seesaw. So we're on the shop side of things since we did the short-term rental. So
But yeah, I think we have two locations in mind since we go back to California every quarter to visit the shops. We're interested in either looking for a short-term rental out there that we can just stay in
mhm.
while we're out there. And we also have a daughter going to Savannah College of Art and Design. So looking at possibly getting a short-term rental down in Savannah so that she could stay in there while she's still in college, and then we could rent it out thereafter.
Okay, wonderful. Well,
And wherever the deal is, wherever.
I hear that.
Yeah,
So
so
we don't
we're
want to force it, but
keeping the options open. Yeah.
Yeah, got to find those deals. All right, listen, you went through some crap. It was not fun. I'm sure it was very stressful, and you made it work. So hopefully, somebody listening to this can learn a thing or two about wells and what to look out for and how to handle it if something bad happens. And I appreciate your time.
yeah, he posted a picture on the site. So if
hmm
you want to look it up.
Yeah, I think more than anything, it's a mindset thing. It's easy to get bogged down and thinking, oh my gosh, what did we get into? Like, why did we do this? But, as long as you have a long-term perspective on it, and this is growing, not just lifetime wealth, but generational wealth,
Mhm.
it's just a blip on the radar, not a huge deal.
Mhm.
It can, cost quite a bit of cash, and this is just one example, that real estate is risky. There are risks associated with it, but as long as you have the reserves post purchase, again, that's what allows you the peace of mind to be able to maintain that long term perspective on things.
Love it.
And then
Love it.
just one final point before you cut us off. Um, Whenever we're doing new things, because we're always trying new things, we're always trying to expand our horizons. I like to keep that mindset of like fail fast, because you're never learning lessons when you're totally successful. You're only learning lessons when you're failing. So the faster you can fail, the faster you learn those lessons, and the faster you get to the successes that you can build upon. So I was grateful for this happening within our first year so that we could fail as fast as possible to get to the point where we could reap the rewards and not have to worry about that BS and use that cash flow to continue investing.
Yes. Michael Jordan, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 3,000 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed.
Yep.
Awesome.
Michael
Love it.
Jordan. Look at that.
Love
Pulled that one out of my rear end. All right. You guys are awesome. We'll see you at Short Term Shop Plus. And thank you so much for telling your story. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
All
you.
right. Don't overthink it.